is Tariq Talk. Your host, Tariq Mendez, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tariq Talk.
All right, guys. Today I'm here at Art on Paper at booth D25 with Pedro Felipe Vintimilla. Did I get that right, Pedro?
Yeah, it's very close.
Yes. Do you mind sharing your Instagram with us, please?
My Instagram is Ojo de Ají. O-J-O period D-E period A-J-I or Pedro Felipe.
Oh, okay. Thank you for spelling that for us. And do you want to share with us about the works you have on the booth here for display?
So what I'm showing here at the fair is a relational performance photography documentation process. Basically, it's a project that I've been working on for a while. It started with an exercise that I did with my brother, and he came up with one specific word, and I translated that word into a color palette, and then I created a design and printed a fabric with those colors, and then I have used that fabric during a performance in which I give my body and the fabric to the audience along with a digital camera, and I allow them to pose me physically and use the fabric on my body as they wish.
Oh, wow.
And for them to take a picture of that quick creative process that they just experienced. So what I take home is their pictures with me in a specific pose, and then I abstract what the picture is showing of my body. I abstract my body, and what is left is just the fabric on my body.
Oh, wow. And how did you come up with such a great idea? Where did it come from?
It's been a process. When I did that quick exercise with my brother, it was just a fun way of me developing a color palette, and then eventually I wanted to keep working with the same idea, and it just evolved. And I think that's sort of my creative process. I start with a simple pattern, and I see where that takes me. So it was never meant to be this from the beginning, but it's more like a process.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm still interested in this project, but what else can I do with it? And I do like creating environments where I have a conversation physically or verbally with the audience. So that's why. And basically what I want is the audience to feel a moment of creativity.
Yeah.
So that's why I basically give my body and my artwork for them to play with it and work with it and then take a picture. It's a way of me sharing creativity with the audience.
No, this is so genius. And are you working on other mediums, or are you focusing on this type of medium right now?
I do work a lot with textiles, and I do also paper making, which I'm hoping to show next year. I wanted to show this piece today because I like the idea of showing the raw paper behind the photograph. But I do work with paper making, especially a mixture of organic materials, recycled organic materials, as a way of documenting different spaces. It's a project that I've been doing between Ecuador and New York, and I basically just recycle leftover organic materials from the neighborhood, and I mix that into the pulp of the paper, and I make paper.
Oh, wow.
And that also becomes specific. I call them tiles of paper, and I create bigger, larger pieces with small pieces of paper, sort of like mural pieces made out of small pieces of paper.
And how do you keep track of all your ideas? Do you write them down? Do you draw everything?
I do a lot of visual documentation. I do a lot of pictures. I do a lot of time lapse of my process, and I categorize that, and basically that. I don't do much writing. of those ideas, but I keep a very detailed visual documentation of what I'm doing. Yeah.
And what, like, when you go to the studio, what is that like for you? Do you, like, when you get to your art studio, can you work and, like, go to work right away? Or do you need to sit down, have a coffee?
I have to admit, I have waves. There are, for instance, last year I created a personal project. I wanted to push myself to design something every week. So I started time-lapsing my process and posted it on TikTok. And the pressure of having something every week allowed me to really get into it. So it depends. But then after the 6 months of doing that every week, I needed to take a break. But my creative process is not only making, but I also like collaborating, and I'm an art educator. So whenever my physical process of making art gets a little exhausting, then I turn into projects, creative projects for organizations or other people.
And do you have a time of the day to work? Do you prefer the morning, the nighttime, or are you pretty flexible?
I guess like a lot of people, you know, when I'm ready to work, I put on something on YouTube, a podcast or something, and I can sit there for hours. I would say I don't have a specific schedule. I have a specific projects that when I'm into it, I work overnight and I work during the day, but I don't have a specific schedule, I would say.
And is this your first time at the Art on Paper Fair?
Yes, it is my first time. It's been an incredible experience to work on something that is more on the commercial side, because I do like the personal projects that I work on. But this time has been more of how can I turn this into something that has the potential of being commercial, and I've enjoyed it. I was talking to my students and I told them, once the artwork is finished is one thing, and then the little details of having something ready to be given to somebody who's interested, the little postcard, the little wrapping of the artwork, the framing, so all that has been an incredible experience.
Oh wow. And do you like getting the feedback from people and the observers, or you kind of like to watch them afar, observe your work?
If somebody stands in front of my piece for more than 30 seconds, then I approach them. Of course, I say hello, good morning, good afternoon. But if I see them looking at it and interested, then I get up and I give them a little more information. I give them a postcard and I talk to them.
And do you like hearing like what do they see in your work and what do they take away from it?
I think it's been interesting for them to figure it out what it is. I don't think they immediately know that it's me under the fabric or my body is under the fabric. So when I tell them what the process is, I think it becomes more clear of what it is, and I think that's a wonderful surprise for them as well.
No, it definitely was for me. I didn't really understand, but I love the work. And then when you say that you're holding the fabric and then removing yourself from the picture, it's so fascinating.
Thank you.
Because you imagine the body there and the way, you know what I mean? It's like a whole process. So it's almost like you get two works in one work, because you see the before and after so differently. And I see you have the fabric hanging on the wall. Is that the fabric that was used in the photo shoot?
Yes, that's the same fabric that I've been using for years, and of course it's been through a lot in the performances, so it's not as bright as it was at the beginning, and I love that. I kind of feel like it's like a safety blanket. And actually the whole series is called Dream.
Oh wow. Okay.
And Somnium, which is in Latin. So there's a whole series of works that I started doing with the idea of dreams. So that specific fabric in my own color alphabet palette means dream. So that also adds to it the idea of having a dream, going for your dreams, living your dream, hoping for a dream.
That's very nice. And do you have any mediums or works that you want to tackle for the future?
I definitely want to start thinking about. I mean, I would love to work with wallpaper. I would love to work with. That's where I'm going. I probably something like that. Something that is
different and new, right?
Yeah. I kind of have this idea of like decorating a whole environment with my designs.
Oh, I love that. And I'm sure you're going to be able to.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for participating. Can you share your Instagram again with us, please?
Okay, it's Ojo de Ají. OJODEAJI.
Perfect. And Pedro is in booth D25, guys. So please check him out. It's pretty amazing work.
Thank you.
And stand in front of the work and admire like I did, and talk to him. He's here to engage with you guys and enjoy the fair, okay? Thanks again, Pedro.
Thank you for listening to Tariq Talk. Follow Tariq Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online.